The Lakers have traded Taylor Horton Tucker and what is it, Stanley Johnson for Patrick Beverly. um, can I get your thoughts on that? Because I'm a
Well,
little
that makes two
confused.
of us, Kev, because when I look at this trade on pure face value, I don't think it's going to do anything positive for the Lakers this upcoming season. Let's just put this in the context here for a second. Patrick Beverly is turning 34 years old. And coming off of last year, his most memorable moment came when the Timberwolves advanced out of the play-in tournament to make it into the first round of the playoffs, and he was crying. Other than that, he averaged under 10 points a game, was relatively spotty when it came to shooting, and I think at this point he's more well known for his trash talking than his actual play on the court, because that's really the only thing that I could kind of point to when it comes to his overall game. Yeah, he's a scrappy player. Yeah, he gets in players' faces, and he's not afraid to back down from any challenge, especially if he's got something to say or if somebody has something to say back to him. That's something that I'll give him a lot of credit for. But outside of that, what's his impact going to be? I think it's going to be minuscule, because when you look at the Lakers as a whole, this roster is one of the oldest in the league, if not the oldest in the league. And Patrick Beverly doesn't do anything to improve that. The Lakers as a whole need to get younger as a unit, not older. But I think this is just kind of the way that the Lakers are steering the ship right now. And I think they're just steering it into the iceberg before it hits like the Titanic did. We're kind of like at that point where we could see the iceberg. It's in the distance, but we're not going to do anything to stop it. And we're just going to ram right into it. Because with the way that the front office has made their decisions the last couple years, Rob Pelinka has given me no confidence to believe in this team moving forward. This team is old by and large. The rest of the Western Conference is getting younger and is getting extremely athletic, and the Lakers are going in reverse. I understand that LeBron is coming off of a year where he averaged 30 points a game. Anthony Davis wasn't relatively healthy, and Russell Westbrook was basically shooting the ball into oblivion half the time, basically shooting shots into the top of the backboard. And the best way that they could adjust from last year's mistakes going into this year was to add a 34-year-old veteran that doesn't shoot that ball that well. This doesn't help the Lakers in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. The Lakers are going backwards as far as I'm concerned. This is a continuing slide that they'll be on. And the general trajectory that the Lakers are going on right now, I think it's going to end in a tire fire. That's just the state of the Lakers, and really this trade that the Lakers agreed to by sending Taylor Horton Tucker and Stanley Johnson, the two younger players that were originally on this roster and had something to build on. Granted, they were spotty here and there, but you end up trading some of the youngest pieces that you have to bring in an older veteran. That's just a general state of the Lakers. It's a downward trajectory, and I don't think it's going to improve despite LeBron James, AD, and Russell coming back into the fold. That's just how I see it.
What I look at is that's another big personality you got to deal with in that locker room. Russell Westbrook's a hothead. Patrick Beverly's a hothead. We all know that LeBron James has his moments where he tends to be one of those controlling individuals in the locker room, somebody that is a coach without being a coach, but not in a good way like Chris Paul is, more like a do it my way, this is how we're going to do things. Patrick Beverly isn't going to do anything for you offensively. Patrick Beverly is going to be coming off the bench to provide a defensive spark to try to jolt this team into doing something that, in my opinion, they're not capable of doing. You go and you trade away two promising offensive players to give you something just in case your bigs get hurt. And by your bigs, I mean your big players like Anthony Davis and LeBron James, which again, we're expecting them to miss time because just of their checkered injury history over the last couple of years. I don't wish it upon them. God forbid they were to get hurt. I'd love for them to play a full season and be healthy and actually show that they can be dominant players in this league again. But I'm looking at this and saying, you traded two younger pieces for a 34-year-old guy that's not going to do anything for you. Taylor Horton Tucker had a little bit of a regressive year last year. Stanley Johnson actually played relatively well when the Lakers were eliminated out of playoff contention, and I think that he deserved to be on this team. But here we are. Rob Pelinka is kind of showing his inability to be an effective general manager. You give Braun that massive extension. You limit yourself to how much cap you're going to have. Obviously, you probably alleviated some of it trading away Horton Tucker's contract that he signed 2 years ago or last year. So I mean, maybe they're trying to make some wiggle room. I heard that they were also in the running for Donovan Mitchell, but I don't know what the hell you could potentially give Utah that who the hell that the Knicks couldn't offer with 5 first-round picks. So at the end of the day, this is just another useless move to try to compensate for Rob Pelinka's inability to create an effective team outside of LeBron James and Anthony Davis.